Hi Braille class, in today's grammar session we're going to be focusing on using contractions, making sure we're putting the apostrophes in the correct place. So our learn objective today is what is a contraction and can I use them in sentences correctly? Our skills, we're going to be able to understand what a contraction actually is, we're going to be able to place the apostrophe in the correct place and we're going to be able to choose the correct contraction to use in a sentence. So this is the Squeezeometer 17. It squeezes two words together and takes out a letter to make one shorter word called a contraction. We're going to click on the words to watch them go into the machine. Then we're going to push the go button to see them squeeze together into that contraction. So let's see whether we can do this one. So we've got the word cannot. And we're going to see whether we can squeeze that word. Let's see whether it will work. And we squeeze it into the contraction can't. So you can see here the O and the N have been omitted. That means they've been taken away from the word cannot. And then an apostrophe has been put in its place to omit those letters in the space of it. And then we've got the letter T to make the contraction can't. Oh, let's try the next one. We've got it is. Let's see if we can contract it is. It is becomes the contraction it's. So you can see the I in the word is has been omitted. It's been taken away. And the apostrophe has been put in its place. So we've got it, apostrophe, and then the S. You can see the S is not joined next to the T. That's very clear. It's the apostrophe and then the S after it. Let's try did not. So when we contract the words did not, they become didn't. Again, have a look. Which letter from did not has been omitted and the apostrophe has replaced it? Which letter? It's the letter O in not. So you can see it's did. The N has been put straight next to the D. We've got an apostrophe, which is in the place of the O in the not, and then the T on the end to make didn't. Oh, we've got could not this time. So let's see what the Squeezeometer says. Couldn't. Again, in this word, the O has been omitted from the not. So we've got could. The N in not is right next to that D now. We've got the apostrophe, which is in the place of the O in the not. And then we've got the T after it. Couldn't. Oh, this one would not. So if could not was couldn't, what do you think would not is going to make? Of course, it's going to make wouldn't. Again, just like couldn't, the O has been omitted. So the apostrophe has been put in its place. The N is straight next to the D this time. The apostrophe and then the T on the end. Wouldn't. Now we've got they have. Now they have, the apostrophe omits not one but two letters. It omits the H and the A in have. So we've got they have becoming the contraction they've. They've all got their PE kits on. They've. So the H and A is omitted. It's taken away. The apostrophe is put after the Y and then the V and E that's left is placed on the end. Next one, he will becomes he'll. He'll be the king one day. He'll. So you can see here the W and I, again, two letters have been omitted, have been taken away, and the apostrophe has taken its place. So we've got H and E, then the apostrophe, L and L. Next one, we will. Just like he will becomes he'll, we will becomes we'll. We'll be back to school soon, we hope. We'll. And again, the W and I has been omitted this time, two letters. And we've got the apostrophe in its place and then the L and L on the end. What is becomes what's. So instead of saying what is the problem, you'd say what's the problem. So the I this time has been omitted. It's been taken away. The apostrophe has been put in its place. And we've got the S on the end. So I want you to have a look at these squeeze words. We've got can't, wouldn't, it's, didn't. I want you to think which letter has been, or letters have been omitted in these words. So from cannot to can't, which letters have been taken away? From would not to wouldn't, which letters have been taken away? From it is to its, which letter has been taken away? From did not to didn't, which letter has been taken away? So pause the video and see whether you can have a look at the original words and then the contractions and see which letter or letters have been taken away and the apostrophe has been put in its place. So pause the video now. Hopefully you had time to pause the video and you were able to identify which letter or letters have been omitted. So you can see the O and the N is missing for cannot here. There's only one N and the O has gone and the apostrophe has been put in its place. Would not. You can see the O again is missing, an apostrophe has been put in its place and the two words have been put together. So that N is part of that second word. You can see it's right next to that D this time. Then we've got it is. You can see that the I has been omitted and the apostrophe has been put in its place and the two words have been put together. And then for didn't, we've got the O missing. And again, that not, the N has been put right next to that D, the apostrophe in the air, and then the T. Oh dear, we've got an issue. The Squeezeomatic 17 is broken. The words, they're going in the wrong way this time. See whether you can help mend the machine by writing two correct words at home on your piece of paper for the short squeeze words. Let's see whether we can do it. So this time I've got wasn't. And I want to know what were the words originally. So what two words were originally wasn't? Because we know that wasn't is a contraction of those two words. See if you can pause the video and write that down. Let's see if you were right. Oh, let's have a look. Let's press go on our machine because remember it's the wrong way around this time. Wasn't was originally the two words was not. Well done if you were right. Let's try shouldn't. So remember, pause the video, see if you can write down the two words it was originally. Let's see if you're right. Shouldn't originally would have been the two words should not. Next one, hasn't. Remember, pause that video. What do you think the two words were originally before it got contracted to hasn't? They were has and not. Has not. So some of the spellings that you can practice from today's lesson. The word can't, didn't, hasn't, couldn't, it, wouldn't, shouldn't, wasn't. And I've even added in some of those year 2 common exception words, Mr. and Mrs. titles for us to practice. Because a lot of the time we spell those as we phonetically think they are. But this is how you spell them correctly. Now I want you to see whether you can complete my worksheet, including contractions, and to challenge yourself, see if you can write some sentences with those contractions in.